this point, the first statement coming in from Prime Minister Narendra Modi here. I'm going to read out the statement. We're going to put that out on the screen shortly. I read, heartiest congratulations, my friend Donald Trump, on your historic election victory as you build on the successes of your previous term. I look forward to renewing our collaboration to further strengthen the Indo-US comprehensive global and strategic partnership. Together, let's work for the betterment of our people and to promote global peace, stability and prosperity here. At this point, Ambassador Goel, this couldn't be a better segue for me to ask you the next important question here. What does this mean for India? Of course, the personal bonhomie between Narendra Modi and Donald Trump is something that the world saw, both in India and both in Ahmedabad and in Texas as well. But in terms of economic policies, given Donald Trump's rigid stance on trade tariffs or something like that, it is going to be a tricky wicket, but something which may perhaps personal chemistry can overcome.
Well, I think the friendship and what you call the personal chemistry between Prime Minister Modi and now President of the USA, Trump, is very well known. We have all seen it. In fact, I remember even during the first presidency and when it was the election time, when Prime Minister Modi actually called from the stage. Was it in Houston somewhere? I don't remember exactly. Ab ki baar Trump Sarkar. And he was actually exhorting the Indian community to vote for Trump.
Yeah, it was Houston. So, howdy Modi.
Houston. How do you know the yes? So therefore, I mean, the friendship is very well known, and I think that's a big plus because they know each other personally, and we also know the manifestation of friendship when he had come to India and he was in Ahmedabad for the inauguration of the large stadium. Having said that, and that is going to do a lot of things, we will need to watch very carefully because he's a friend, but he also has its own policies and his own agenda, which is going to implement with great enthusiasm and zeal. Make America great again. That's the first thing that he will go to work about. Tariffs. We are hoping, and as Professor Nalpat said, that this tariff will come in the way of for China and not for friendly countries like India. I'm not so sure. Because President Trump is a pro-business president. For him, the first thing that comes is not security, not strategy, all those things are there, but the trade, because he thinks the trade is going to create jobs for the Americans. And in that way, if he thinks the Indian, there is a kind of a conflict of interest with India on that, we all know which side he would take, number one. Number two, China factor. I'm not even going to talk about Gaza and Middle East and Ukraine. I think that has been spoken about enough. But let us take China. Now, China, we know, is a problem for us, security problem. We are trying to build bridges with China. The agreement has been arrived at, etc. But we cannot take China for granted because of our security reasons. Trump is transactional. For him, what is more important is the trade with China. If somehow there is an opening with China on the trade front and Trump finds that it is working in favor of the USA, how would his policies change? So I think we need to keep all those things under watch and then take a call. But on the whole, will be given the personal chemistry between the two, between PM Modi and Trump, it will be easier to work with him rather than the other way. Yes.
Okay, so let me then put that question across. I had other follow-up questions to ask about Dr. Rao and Professor Nalapat, but that's, of course, the burning question. Dr. Rao, Trump being a pro-business president, but he's also up against a prime minister who comes from the Gujarat business community and understands it, perhaps understands Dhando better than anyone else here. What is your crystal ball gazing into what the next era of the Modi-Trump relationship going to look like?
Well, I mean, on the one hand, I do agree that the personal bonhomie that the two leaders will have a role. But let's not forget that, as I have analyzed, according to what I feel is happening, is that we will see a kind of a conservative internationalism in the US under Trump, which means that it is not going to go completely isolationist, neither completely globalist. It is going to strike a middle path, and that is what is being referred to as conservative internationalism. Because the kind of world that Donald Trump is inheriting in 2024 is radically different from the world that he had inherited in 2016. So that's the first part. part. The second part is about, about India. Now, there is no doubt about the fact that all the things that we now refer to as the building blocks of India-US strategic and comprehensive partnership, which is the, the Strategic Trade Authorization, Act on 2018, or the 2+2 mechanism that also came in 2018, the revival of Quad, all the signing of these very, very crucial agreements, after foundational agreements like the ISA and COMCASA, etc. All of that happened in the era of Trump. And of course, after Joe Biden came, as far as India was concerned and Indo-Pacific was concerned, we saw a continuation, under Indus X and ISET and, all the defense industrial roadmap, etc. So there is little doubt, in my opinion, that with respect to India, as far as the strategic convergence is concerned, in Indo-Pacific defense industry convergence is concerned, technological convergence is concerned, we are only going to grow further. And all the other friction points, for example, the Pannu controversy, which of course has been, taking our attention for so long, or, for example, all these little points of 19 Indian companies being sanctioned for selling dual-use technology to Russia. I mean, those kind of things will perhaps be managed much better because we have a Republican government out there that Indians prefer, because they have not really shown that kind of a same penchant for international lecturing. But where we need to be very careful and I think realistic is about the fact that Donald Trump has also given statements of sanctioning entities and countries that promote de-dollarization. And of course, India's view on that, which is of course not de-dollarization per se, but at least promoting, trade in local currencies. So I think we have to sort of be more realistic. The second is, of course, taking away the preferential trading, pattern that we had with the US, because of which we saw this massive, surge in India-US trade ties. And right now we have a trade surplus with the US, and Donald Trump has
Dr. Rao, I will come back to
reputation
you
of coming
in
after
detail in the
countries.
evening as well to discuss this.
Yeah. Sorry? Can you come again?
I do get your point, Dr. Rao. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we also are running short of time. So I just want to get a last response in. I'll just come back to Dr. Rao later on in the broadcast. I just want to get a last word in from Professor Nalapat. I'm sorry, I just have 1 minute, Professor Nalapat. Historically, India has gotten along better with Republican presidents, bonhomie notwithstanding. Do you expect the trend to continue?
I very much do, because the fundamental interests are aligned. And let me tell you that you have got not only Trump, you have got Vice President Vance and incoming Vice President Vance, and a lot of very, very, very good people who are around Trump now. In fact, several of them are very understanding of the need to work closely with India. So I have a feeling that relations are definitely going to get very much better under Donald Trump, and especially now that Narendra Modi has got a third term. I think the two men will have a convergence of view. Dr. Rao has correctly said, India is the one under Modi. He forgot that nonsense about the visa, and he went ahead with a very wonderful visit to the United States. And he's got the Quad, he's got the foundation agreements. He's building up a strong Indo-Pacific architecture. This is very important for the Trump team. And I think I have a little bit of idea as to the new Trump team. And they are very focused on geopolitics, and they're very focused on geoeconomics, which is very important to geopolitics. So yes, I'm very optimistic. I'm very hopeful of a much better future than we have had so far over the last few years. Thank you.
Can't think of a better and more optimistic note to end that discussion with. Of course, this will be a big focus through prime time as well. And I, for one, cannot wait to see the next meeting between President Trump and Prime Minister Modi, two of the most charismatic and probably the most mold breaker leaders we have ever seen in the world. Thank you so much, Ambassador Goel, Dr. Rao, Professor Nalapat. Always a pleasure to have you on the panel. Also, thank you so much, Ranjoy, for joining me with the discussion. It's time for a short break. On the other side,